So today we're going to be talking about our favorite piece of equipment on the trail, and that's our sleeping bag.
I'm excited to be here because I'm almost proud of this piece of gear.
It's really something else. How much I care about my sleeping bag and how much care I take from it.
Right,
of
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'll say too, on the trail, when people see feathered friends, people that are hikers, they're pretty impressed with it.
Now, if you haven't heard of Feathered Friends, they're handmade sleeping bags headquartered in Seattle. They've been doing it since the 70s. By the way, this is not a sponsored video. We just love their product. And while we're stuck at home, we're going to do some gear reviews.
Sure, for sure.
Let me talk about mine first. I'm actually the one that got Carmen into Feathered Friends.
Which I appreciate, so thank you for that. One of the best tips you've given me.
Now, everything else on the trail, I say go to the thrift store. Cheap on your gear. Your gear's not going to last. Even your hiking shoes won't last more than 400 miles. Who gives a shit what brand they are? Just buy it, use it, wear it out, move on to the next one. Now, however, your sleeping bag, this is something you actually do want to break the bank on. I mean that literally. These are $500 sleeping bags. How much did you pay for yours?
$539.
$539. I paid $450 for mine 6 years ago. So these are high quality sleeping bags. Now, this Feathered Friends I bought back in 2014 actually. So I've had this bag for 6 years. I brought it down to Patagonia. I brought it up to New Zealand, Nepal. I had this in Thailand, India. This thing is a tank. I've had it all over North America. And it saved my life numerous times. And I'm not making that up. It's literally saved my life from hypothermia in basically every continent that I've visited. And so you can see the quality of this. This is a 6-year-old bag. I've beaten up. I've had it in the bottom of airplanes. And, look at the loft on these feathers. Now, does it still insulate me down to 20 degrees? Yeah, it still does. Now, there's definitely a difference between my sleeping bag and Carmen's. Now, Carmen's, how old is yours?
Sure, mine's about, 2 years old now?
Okay.
A little over 2 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
And what comes in the newer versions now, I believe all their bags do the 950 fill.
Right.
So you're getting a little bit more, you're getting more feathers in there.
This one is only $850.
Something like 10% more feathers, something like that. Maybe a little bit more. What I like about mine is the Swift. And so I don't know if you can see here, but it has a little bit of a larger shoulder range.
Right.
I got that Italian jean, so I got these broad shoulders. I think you have it too.
I have it too.
So you get a little tight in the shoulders. Some of the regular, with the mummy bags.
Right.
Because the mummy bags are nice. The advantage of a mummy bag is it's going to fully enclose you. But the thing is your movement is restricted at night. And so what's nice about having the wider shoulders of the Swift is you still have a little bit more mobility inside the bag.
And then for women's bags, they actually put more mobility inside the hips. Because women generally have larger hips than men, which is my favorite part about women.
The hips
honestly.
don't lie,
yeah,
as they say. Another thing I should mention, maybe I'll mention it now, perhaps, because you're right. Because these are the 20-degree versions, and they are rated to about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That being said, 20 degrees is it's a very extreme ratings, and if you're sleeping in 20 degrees, you're gonna feel it, and you'd be cursing that you don't have a 0-degree bed. And another thing with sleeping bags too, it's really important the mat you're sleeping on, because a lot of the cold will be sucked out of you from the ground.
Right.
So if you have a 4-season mat, it really helps.
And now the way down sleeping bags work is that the insulation is from the loft. So what that means is that these down feathers, these goose feathers, are collecting air and basically keeping your body heat where it is. So now. From the top down, so if you're sleeping on your back, you get a lot of loft. Now, when you're sleeping on top of the feathers, you're actually packing the feathers down, you're squishing them against the ground. There's no insulation, and this is not going to keep you warm, and that's really where having a good sleeping pad is important.
Right.
Which we do, but that's another video.
That's another video.
So the way you want to take care of these sleeping bags, if you do make a purchase, obviously you're not going to spend $500 and then let this thing get ruined. You actually want to store it kind of like this. It takes up a lot of room, it's bulky, but if you store it if it's packed up, the feathers are going to break, you're going to lose a lot of loft, and that $500 investment you made is going to go right down the tubes. Now, it's okay if you're hiking, for example, the Pacific Crest or the Appalachian Trail, you're going to pack it up every single night, and you're going to carry it, or you pack it up every single day, you're going to carry it all day, the feathers are going to be crunched up. That's okay, because you are lofting it for 6, 7, 8 hours a night, and that's what these things are made for. Now, if you just throw it under your bed for 6 months, packed up in its in a pack sack.
Yeah. So for longer term storage, you definitely want to let it breathe a little bit.
And that's gonna keep the quality of life hard. Now, the only rip I actually got in this sleeping bag, you have a couple options. I would say call the company, But they actually have an ultra light nylon outer layer that's lighter than this. I really wouldn't recommend it. It's going to rip a lot easier. This is kind of their standard weight nylon. And the only hole I got, easily fixed by the way with nylon tape, but the only hole I got was holding it over a fire, trying to dry it out. And so it got a little too close and burned through actually.
Yeah.
But that's my own fault.
Another thing that's nice about the stitching on these Feathered Friends bags, it's basically made so that you can move the feathers around as you will.
They call it a continuous baffle design.
Okay. And it's and at first I really didn't understand. I'm like, well, why are all my why do I have to keep?
Now we can actually see through the feathers with Carmen's bag. We can actually see through the bag a little bit. You can actually see the feathers.
As you can see right now, they're kind of clumping on the bottom over here. And what you might want to do, especially on colder nights, is kind of toss it up a little bit and move the feathers closer to your chest.
Really shake it down, and also shake the feathers away from the back part, because that's not going to insulate you anyway. Put all the feathers on the upper body. If you sleep on your side, on that side, you sleep on your side. However you sleep, put the feathers on top of you, not below you.
Yeah, and at first I didn't understand why they had that. It was kind of frustrating. But I realized, during different seasons, you may want to take feathers and move them kind of around the bag.
Right. In July, August, we're actually moving feathers off of us because of how hot it was. And then when fall hit us again, we're happy that we're able to move the feathers around. It takes a little bit getting used to. It's not a turnkey solution for sleeping, but the extra couple of minutes you spend learning how it works, it's really going to keep you warmer than any other sleep system out there.
I really came to appreciate it over time. And even those nights where I was a little bit chilly, I realized I really wasn't fluffing my bag and make sure that my feathers were spread out.
Now, that brings up an important point, because if you do get these feathers wet, they're going to clump and they're not going to loft as much, and you're going to lose a lot of heat. So kind of maybe a negative of having a down sleeping bag is that it can't get wet. And it gets wet pretty easily, especially in these single wall tents where the moisture stays encapsulated. That's why we actually recommend double wall tents. But single wall tents, you can still keep it dry. Don't brush it against the side. And then honestly, you might want to have to dry it out during your lunch breaks too. Yeah. And it dries out pretty quick in direct sunlight,
really
but you're going to have to do that. Now, that's kind of a negative. The benefits is that it's going to be the warmest sleep you ever have. All you have to do is take care of it. Right. A great way to store it is actually one of these Sea to Summit. I always use the 8-liter bag. 8-liter bag is plenty large enough for a 20-degree down sleeping bag.
These are pretty water resistant. They're going to help keep off.
They're water resistant. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to leave this out in a rainstorm, but in the bottom of your backpack in a rainstorm, no water's getting through it.
And the other nice thing about these bags, they compress down very tight, very small.
Tiny. Yeah. So here, let's actually pack it up right now.
Yeah, let's pack this up real quick. So let's kind of just.
So there's no real rhyme or reason to this method. You just kind of stuff it in. That's why it's called a stuff sack.
You're right. You could do it, and you could just kind of throw it in there.
I usually just push it down with my fist. Carmen's got a little system.
Well, I just kind of get some of the air out over here, but you could just put it right in.
You can see how much air is being stored by these feathers. That's the loft. That's the heat that you're going to want.
So this is kind of.
So you throw it in there, and then you just punch it down.
Yeah, you just punch it down there.
And you really want to get aggressive with these bags, because that's the only way you're going to get it to fit. There's a lot of feathers in here.
Right.
So you push it down. You can get all the air out.
Get a nice roll on there.
Get a nice roll. And this is actually going to fit real nicely inside your backpack. Right. Now, these things weigh less than 2 pounds. They're ultra light. That's another benefit of these bags.
I mean, that's amazing. There's your sleep system right there.
There's your sleep system. This is a 20-degree sleep system. It's about the size of a football, and it's really not that heavy.
Really not at all.
I like to put it at the bottom of my pack, and then everything else just kind of compresses it a little bit more. And then this is actually going to keep it dry. I actually fell into a river and ended up swimming a river for about 200 yards.
Right.
And now I had it in the bottom of a hyperlight mountain gear bag, which is already quite water resistant, but my sleeping bag didn't get wet at all.
Right.
So I had a dry night sleeping with this system.
Yeah. Now, another thing we probably should mention is having the liner. This was a gift given to me right before the Wild West Trail from a coworker.
Right. This is 100% silk.
What's really nice about this, you're going to be dirty, you're going to be filthy every single day, and you're going to definitely be sweating. And this is an expensive bag, and the oil in your skin, especially if you're not washing every night, you really don't want it to get on the bag.
You don't want it on your bag.
Especially over time, it's going to be hard to you'll never get that off. So it's nice having the liner. The other nice thing about the liner, it adds a few extra degrees of warmth. So maybe now you could go to 18 degrees. You know, so every little bit kind of counts, I think. But having this definitely was essential.
Right. And you can actually pack this up right into the seat of someone with your backpack.
It weighs basically nothing,
Yeah.
and it's nice having that extra, for just cleanliness, but also for a little added warmth as well. But overall, our review of the Feathered Friends, I mean, we were just so thrilled with this piece of gear.
This is our favorite piece of equipment. We tell everybody if they're going to do a hike, you need a Feathered Friends bag. You need it because, one, it's ultralight, two, it actually works.
Right.
And it's just a great piece of equipment.
And what's nice about Feathered Friends, they're really sustainable in the way that they fill these bags.
Yeah, sustainably harvested geese.
Is it geese or duck?
No, it's goose.
Is it
it's
goose?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
sustainable goose. You know, it's I mean, obviously the geese die to make these feathers. It's not like a sheep; they don't shear.
But they live in nice farms. They live in open fields.
Yeah, and they're humanely slaughtered. Yeah. So you know, if you're a vegan, you're not going to want this bag. But you know, if you're a regular person, this bag's going to be great for you.
And because you know how sustainable it is, you'll be able to rest easy at night. Knowing that birds were harmed.
The birds were harmed, but
yeah,
pleasantly.
Pleasantly though.
Humanely. That's the word. That's the word. Humanely slaughtered. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a great bag.
Honestly, I sleep in this one when I'm not even on the trail.
Yeah,
I sleep with it on the couch.
I sleep with this when I'm truck camping.
Right.
I spread it out. The nice thing too, you can spread it out like a down comforter. So you know you have to keep it kind of open anyway throughout the year. So I just sleep with it as a down comforter most nights anyway. And all the zippers and Feathered Friends are exactly the same. So maybe you got yourself a lady friend. You can actually zip it together and create kind of a double sleeping bag there with no extra add-ons or anything.
Yeah.
That's another neat feature they got.
Absolutely, that is kind of cool.
Yeah. No, me and Carmen only zipped it up a couple times. Those are really cold nights.
Well, we were cold that night.
It was cold. Yeah, so you know, we highly recommend the Feathered Friends bag, and you know, do yourself a favor. You're going on a big hike. You don't want to be cold because honestly, if you're cold at night, it's gonna ruin the whole hike. So spend the money.
Yeah.
You know, skimp out on anything else. Skimp out on the backpack. Skimp out on your cooking stove. Skimp out on the food.
Yeah.
Skimp out. Maybe take the bus instead of an airplane.
Yeah.
But do yourself a favor. Get yourself a very nice sleeping bag, and you know what you're gonna thank us for.
Absolutely, and something like this is gonna last you maybe probably your whole life.
I mean, mine's lasted me 6 years. I've thrown through some really rugged conditions. I see at least another 10 years on it.
Right.
So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, sleep is so important. If you're not able to sleep, not able to rest after a hike, it escalates very quickly.
Yes, you can't recover. You can't wake up. You're exhausted. You can't get the miles in. Then you quit. And you know, you don't want to be a quitter.
Right. Well, I think this was.
I think this is a succinct gear review.
Absolutely,
Carmen.
it was pretty succinct. Yeah.
Feathered Friends, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, however you want to rate it.
Love this. I might just sleep in this tonight. You know? And honestly, it is like a cloud.
Look at it. It's fun to play with too.
Yeah, you just want to touch it.
You always want to keep your hands on it.
It has like a nice feel to it.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Feathered Friends, do yourself a favor. Stay warm out there.
Thanks for watching, folks. If you liked the video, please share, please subscribe.